Last week, West Virginia's Senate race took a major turn when former coal executive Don Blankenship threw his hat into the ring, hoping to unseat Senator Joe Manchin. Blankenship has one of the most recognizable names in this state, and that's in large part because he was the CEO of Massey Energy when the Upper Big Branch mine exploded, killing 29 coal miners. Today, I spoke to Blankenship about his run for U.S. Senate. Mr. Blankenship, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
When we first spoke in May, you had just gotten out of federal prison, and I asked you whether or not you were interested in getting politically active. At the time, it didn't seem like you were very interested in it. Fast forward 7 months later, and you're running for U.S. Senate. What changed your mind in between that time?
Well, I don't know that I changed my mind. I think my answer then was that I did not know and hadn't really thought about it, which I hadn't. And since then, I've spent a great deal of time thinking about it and decided it was a good idea.
Now, why is it a good idea?
West Virginia needs a change, obviously. We've needed one probably for 50 years, but I think I can provide a positive change, a more positive change than anybody else in the race.
You use the word positive, but ever since the UBB mining disaster, public opinion of you has been divisive at best. So do you think that you can win, and is winning really the goal of this candidacy?
Well, I think there's 4 candidates in the race. 2 of them have already proven over the last 20 years that they can't do anything for the state. Both Jenkins and Manchin have been in the office since at least 2000 and done nothing. So I think basically the public's going to be choosing between Massey and Blankenship. And I think that clearly I have a better track record in creating jobs and so forth than Mr. Massey does.
You're a wealthy man. Why get involved in the race, and why not just back somebody else?
Well, I think the biggest reason is that I'm the only one that I think can truly make the difference that needs to be made for West Virginia. And if you've lived in West Virginia most of your life and you see the poverty, you see us going backwards, you see the lost opportunity, if you have the capability to do something about that, I think you have a responsibility to do something about it.
If you're elected U.S. Senate, UBB, coal mining, coal regulations, MSHA, all of that aside, what is your top priority?
Top priority is to make sure that West Virginia participates in a major way in the Trump infrastructure bill that will certainly be coming up, and make sure that we move up from 50th in most categories to at least the middle or higher during the term that I'm in office.
Is there anything that you don't agree with that President Trump does? Maybe his style, some of the things that he says on Twitter, anything that you would say, wow, I don't want to align myself with that man?
Well, I think that obviously his personality and my personality are extremely different. I think he loves the country, and I know I love the country, and I think he wants the country to be, as he calls it, great again. So we agree on goal. I don't think we have anywhere near the same personality.
Where is your residency right now? Where are you living? There seems to be questions out there as to whether or not you're living in Las Vegas or you're living in Mingo County. Where are you living?
Well, I'm not much different than most people of means. You know, I live in different places. I live in Nevada some, I live in West Virginia some, I've spent some time in Tennessee, I spent time in Kentucky, but my heart's in West Virginia. I've spent most of my life here, and I know a great deal about the state and a lot about its problems.
Are you allowed to be in West Virginia as much as you want to be?
As far as I know, I just generally tell them where I'm at, and I'm able to travel within the U.S. as I choose.
So you spend most of your time where?
It's probably almost equally split between West Virginia and Nevada for the most part, but I think I spend a little bit more time in West Virginia, and certainly I will be during this campaign, and of course I'll be spending a lot of time in D.C. if it's successful.
Okay. Half of your time is spent 2,000 miles away. Is that fair to say?
Almost.
So how do you expect to win a successful Senate campaign in the state of West Virginia? How are you going to have time to travel all over, shake hands, meet with people, and run this campaign? Well,
first of all, you were asking historically where I had been with the past tense. I will spend the time that's necessary in West Virginia to run an effective campaign, and certainly I've spent enough time in West Virginia over the last several decades to know the problems and know the solutions. So I don't think there's any issue at all there.